So imagine this. You ask your AI assistant for a really critical number for your new business plan, say the market size, and it comes back totally confident, $500 billion. Dollars. You're ecstatic, right? But then weeks down the line, you find out the real number was 50 billion. Yikes. That terrifying, super plausible error is what we call an AI hallucination. But what if the secret to stopping these massive mistakes isn't about better code? What if it's a safety trick borrowed from, of all places, aerospace engineering?
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's the plan. First, we're going to look at the huge flaw in how most of us are using AI right now. Then, we'll introduce this new idea called the Honey Badger framework and its wild connection to aerospace. After that, we'll see exactly how it catches an error in real time. And finally, we'll zoom out to see what this all means for AI safety in the grand scheme of things. All right, first things first. We have to understand the core problem. The way most companies are plugging AI into their workflow, well, it's creating this massive hidden vulnerability. It's what we call a single point of failure, and it can literally blow up an entire project. So what exactly is an AI hallucination? It's not just a simple mistake, not like a typo. No, it's a dangerously convincing lie. See, these AI models are built to match patterns and spit out text that sounds right. They're not actually reasoning or thinking. So when they mess up, their mistakes often look and sound totally plausible, even when they're completely wrong. And this right here, this is the standard way it happens. It's a workflow with a fatal flaw. The AI becomes that single point of failure. If the model hallucinates some key fact and a busy team doesn't happen to catch it, that mistake just sails right on through the whole process. And boom, your entire project is now built on a foundation of sand. So how in the world do you fix a problem like that? This is where the source material gets really interesting. It proposes a new system called the Honey Badger Management Framework, or HBMF for short. It's specifically designed to build a much more resilient team. And yeah, why the honey badger? Well, think about it. That animal is the ultimate symbol of resilience and grit. It's famous for surviving against just insane odds. And that's exactly the quality this framework wants to build into teams who are working with these incredibly powerful but sometimes flaky AI tools. Okay, so the framework starts by laying out some very specific human roles. First, you've got the manager. Pretty standard. They set the goals and break down the tasks. Then you have the specialists, the folks on the ground doing the actual work. But then there's this really unique and absolutely critical role called the guru. Now, don't think of them as a project manager. Think of them more like a referee, someone who makes sure everyone is playing by the rules of this new game and protects the whole process. But here it is. This is the absolute game changer. The manager doesn't just give the task to one team. No, they give the exact same task to two totally independent subteams who then work on it at the same time. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds inefficient, but stick with me because this is the secret sauce. This whole two-team structure, this is where the magic happens. It isn't about creating some kind of toxic, cutthroat competition. It's actually a brilliant idea stolen directly from an industry where failure is simply not an option: aviation. The technical term for it is dual modular redundancy, or DMR. It's a cornerstone of safety engineering. In any high-stakes system, you never, ever rely on just one component. You always have two identical, independent systems doing the exact same job. Why? Because if they come up with different results, you know instantly that something is wrong. And the parallel here is it's perfect. A jet's flight computer will run a critical calculation on two separate processors at the same time. If they don't match, an alarm goes off. HBMF does the exact same thing, but with people. By having two teams tackle the same AI-powered task, any difference in their final reports becomes a fire alarm, immediately flogging a potential error or, you guessed it, a hallucination. Okay, so enough theory. Let's walk through a real example to see exactly how this system catches one of those AI hallucinations out in the wild. This is where it all clicks into place. So our AI spits out that crazy $500 billion number. Team A, maybe they're rushed, maybe they just trust the AI too much, they accept it. But Team B, working all on their own, has someone who's a little more skeptical. They double-check the source and, wait a minute, they find the real $50 billion number. So when the two teams come together to present their findings, the conflict is instant. The system doesn't need a single hero to catch the mistake. The divergence itself is the signal that something is wrong. Now, this divergence doesn't just lead to chaos, and that's because of those two critical human roles we talked about, the governors. The manager acts as the final judge. They hear both sides, look at the evidence, and make the final call.
And the guru acts as the referee, making sure the discussion is fair, the competition stays healthy, and that everyone feels safe to speak up and challenge the results. In fact, the source material really drives this home. It says the guru is the supreme authority on the process. And that's so important because it gives someone the power to protect the system, to make sure that teams feel safe enough to question everything, even the answers coming from a supposedly brilliant AI. All right, let's zoom out for a second. What this whole framework really represents is a huge shift in how we think about AI risk. It's about moving away from trying to make the AI perfect and instead focusing on perfecting the human system we build around it. The crucial thing to get here is that this whole strategy just accepts a simple fact. AI is going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. So instead of trying to chase the impossible dream of a perfect, hallucination-free AI, it focuses on building a tough, resilient human process that can catch and fix those errors when they pop up. And look, this framework isn't just some wild idea. It's built on principles that are already well established. As you can see here, the core parts, like using short work cycles, and especially that redundancy piece, are backed by really strong evidence from other fields. Some of the other parts, like managing the competition, rely more on having good leaders, which again is exactly why that guru role is so darn important. This idea of building safety right into the design of this system is such a powerful theme. In other words, it's about creating a process that is safe by its very nature, one that automatically leaves a paper trail, instead of just telling people, hey, be careful, and hoping for the best. So, what's the bottom line for you? Let's boil it all down. First, and this is the big one, start treating your AI like a powerful but totally fallible new team member. Second, use structured human redundancy. It's your ultimate safety net. Third, build that oversight right into your process. Don't just leave it to chance. And finally, always remember the main goal. You're not trying to find a perfect AI. You're trying to build a resilient system that can safely use an imperfect one. And that leaves us with one last, really critical question for anyone leading a team that's using AI. Are you designing your processes just to be efficient, just to be fast? Or are you designing them to be robust, to be strong enough to handle the inevitable bumps in the road? Because in this new age of AI, efficient and robust are absolutely not the same thing anymore.